live new government
it will also send a
defence plans,
Putin that the UK
weapons.
would be ready for a fight.
This is a message
UK
to
25.
This is Britain.
It's the 1st of June today, Friday, Sunday morning, guys, 25.
Making our industrial base stronger.
Times at the bottom, down on the right.
Part of our readiness
So now 2 a.m. in the morning.
to fight, if required, but the strength in which to deter those fights in the future.
After years of tight budgets, there'll be more cash for technology, as well as $1.5 billion to build at least 6 new defence factories with nearly 2,000 jobs. Big promises and big ambition
I like
too.
Lord
But while
Cooper.
ministers warn of new dangers, their rivals may ask if their plans really match the threat. Laura Kunsberg, BBC News.
Well, in a moment, we'll speak to our security correspondent, Frank Gardner. But first, let's go to our political correspondent, Harry Farley. Harry, we heard strong words from the Defence Secretary there ahead of tomorrow's review. What more do we know about the details?
Well, we know that Russia and the threat that it poses will be central to the government's framing of it. We're talking. I understand that the review will talk about Moscow posing an immediate and pressing threat to the UK. And there is an acknowledgement from defence sources that the war in Ukraine has changed their understanding of the nature of warfare, the nature of the need, how the UK needs to prepare to defend itself. But actually,
Let's see what America pouring out
senior military
on NATO.
leaders have warned for some time about, for example, depleted stockpiles of ammunition. In 2021, for example, MPs were warned that in a simulation of a war, the British Army ran out of weapons, it ran out of ammunition in just 8 days. So as part of this review, the government says it will spend £1.5 billion on new factories to make munitions. It says the UK will also purchase more than 7,000 long-range weapons. And one of the arguments that we heard from John Healey, and I think we'll hear the government make over the next few days, is this isn't just essential for British defence, it's also essential to bring jobs to the UK, and they will try and frame it as that dual benefit. But despite what is really significant increases in this spending on defence, there will also be those asking whether it is enough, and that's something that the Conservatives are saying this morning. They say the government needs to hit that 3% target of GDP on defence in this Parliament.
Harry, thank you. Our political correspondent,
I think
Harry
6% GP are actually a bit better.
Let's talk to our security
personally.
correspondent Frank Gardner, who's in Singapore for us. That's the annual conference of international defence.
Ain't going to be enough,
Frank,
in my
all
opinion.
into you.
It won't be enough.
And we look around the world, we see heightened tensions. The timing of this report is particularly crucial, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Good morning. I think Britain is really at a bit of a kind of inflection point, a junction, where clearly the powers that be have realised that defence has been worn down to too much over the last few years by both governments, Conservative and Labour, and that they are in no position to make the commitments, or to meet the commitments rather, that they need to make.
Our empire is a weak empire in the UK.
In which he says
That's
that
the
within
facts.
the next 4 years, possibly earlier, we must be prepared for a Russian attack on NATO's eastern borders. The Baltic states he mentioned being an obvious example. And I think there's a little bit of delusion here. This is fighting talk saying that Britain is ready to fight. We're not.
No, of course, we're a weak empire.
Our weapon stocks are very low after supporting Ukraine in that fight for the last 3 years. I spent the half of last month in Ukraine, and you can see just the incredible intensity at which missiles, drones, bullets, artillery shells are being used up. It's very clear that Vladimir Putin has not changed his original aims, which is to take back the whole of Ukraine and absorb it into a kind of larger Russian empire. And the fear in NATO circles is that he's not going to stop there.
I'm going to invade Poland,
Thank you. That's the
then Germany.
correspondent there, Frank Gardner, live for us in Singapore. The time now, 6 minutes.
Just like in World War.
The rest of today's main stories.
Been stories together though. Please subscribe to Simon Jones. That's right there.